Okay, time to talk about Buffy Season 6, and man, that was one heck of a ride, let me tell you. And you would have thought that as I was watching this that I would, hate this season, but ultimately I actually don't, surprisingly. I rather appreciate this. Yeah, it was different, but ultimately I think it worked. Yeah. That's not to say that it wasn't easy to get to this state of mind because like the beginning of this season, it didn't really make that much sense. Like all the bringing back of Buffy from where she was and then how she's so despondent to everyone trying to help her out, though there are all moments that she shares, I think, with Spike and then either Willow or Dawn, where she explained what happened to her. I didn't get all of it as I was watching it, but yeah, it hit home. You could tell that something different happened to her. And then, like with the rest of the season, because like this is the season where like everyone, with the exception of Giles, really makes a bad decision. But ultimately, I think it helped them. Oh yeah, sure, not everyone is in a better position, but as I said, it worked rather well because Giles taking the step away from the group, so they're all without their father figure slash older uncle to help them out, and then they've got to figure out a whole bunch of things. Buffy, working in the meat area, and then struggling to keep the house, make sure nothing happens to Dawn, which was something that I would not have thought of would occur as a result of her mom getting killed off. But man, that's rough, And then there's Xander and Anya's story arc and how they move to the next phase of their relationship. But then you have the debacle with the wedding, and like, yeah, I totally bought for a good long while that was indeed Xander from the future, but I think right before the twist happened, I began to suspect, hey, something's up, yeah. But that was interesting to see because those two, they've been fighting through a couple of all the real feelings here, and then they take it to the next level. I think that's pretty good. And then Spike, where he went with Buffy. Yeah, I mean, like that was kind of awkward to watch in multiple bits because, like, the bit on the balcony at the bronze. Oh gosh, that was creepy as heck. But I had kind of been thinking that they'd get to this position because, like, the dream that Spike had in season 5, I knew that they'd build this up to something where Buffy would have to confront him about it. Sure, I wasn't expecting them to be, well, this isn't Friends with Benefits because it didn't give them really any. But, well, actually, it did kind of. Well, whatever you want to call the thing, Just, yeah, awkward, but at the same time, it's helped move the season, got Buffy down to her lowest low, and then something in her mind snaps, and then she tries to get out of it, especially with everything else that's happening around her. And to compare this to her other big love interests, Angel and Riley, well, Riley didn't fully have like the permanence in my mind to where he could be compared to Angel. Like, he did have the feel that they keep him around for a bit, but actually getting to that level, I just didn't see that. And then as comparing this to Angel and Buffy, okay, I'm not gonna say that I like it's better, but I was definitely more interested in watching this than I was when any Bangel moment was happening. Like when the Bangel moments actually started happening, I'm just like, yeah, I predicted this, but this is just so. I just did not want to watch that. Granted, I didn't want to watch certain moments of this, but it was more interesting. Because, like, part of them, are starting to like each other. Part of them, can't stand the other one for various things for time to time. And then you've got Spike in his chip, holding him back from being completely honest with everyone. Yeah. It's a whole interesting dynamic there. Then moving on to Willow and Tara. Man. Touching moments that happen in this season where they break up, reunite, Willow becomes addicted to magic, and just all of that those two went through. And I could have sworn I saw like a one line on Wikipedia or something like that, that this is one of the first big same-sex relationships in main television. Although how they define like main television, I have no idea, but yeah. Enjoyable, although I do need to point out one thing. The way that they describe magic this season, it's like just... There was a comparison to how they explain magic here to how it was, I think, in season 4 that I completely forget right now. I wish I could remember, but it just feels different. Like, it seemed like before there were some restrictions as to like who could use magic, that kind of a thing, and now having the magic be like the Force in Star Wars to where it can corrupt you if you use it too much or use it in the wrong way, just it doesn't feel the same. Especially given how Giles was using some of it at the end, yeah. So that's one issue I've got with this season. And then moving on to the bad guys. Okay, so it seems like the Scooby Gang has actually encountered Warren and Jonathan before, and I do kind of remember Jonathan because there was this one episode where like he was the super hero, and then it's admitted towards the end that he actually got a demon to produce that fantasy or alternate bit for him. But like, where did this Warren guy come from? I totally don't remember him. And well, it's interesting to go through the villain of Buffy being an ordinary person again, just given how random and unstable that whole group was. Because, like, I was thinking originally when I think they had the altercation with the Scoobies and, like, that arcade where I think everyone turned invisible, I was kind of thinking, like, that would be the end of them. But then they continue, and then you have Warren, like, bring back his ex-girlfriend, try and communicate something with her, and then he accidentally kills her, which drives her even more cuckoo. Just... I mean, like, I know that it seems like I'm constantly complaining about the Buffy villains, but that's just how it is. I always have some bone of contention to do with these villains, it seems, and that's not that good of a feeling, yeah. Oh, I completely forgot to talk about the musical episode. Interesting, Joss Whedon trying to throw a unique bit into the season, so I applaud the effort, but it did feel kind of out of place, and some of the songs turned out to be overkill. Like, I remember when I was watching the 3rd season of Glee, and they really upped the amount of songs that they had in each episode. I mean, like, I don't think I fast-forwarded through anything, but I definitely paid less close attention during a couple of those songs, although, like, I don't remember if it was the musical episode or one episode before or after it, where you had that Goodbye to You. That was excellent, let me tell you. Okay. I guess that there's not much left to mention except towards the end of the season now. So, the bits where Warren shows up at Buffy's house, threatening to shoot Buffy, and then he shoots at Buffy and Xander a couple of times, then turns and then kind of trips on his feet as he walks away, and another bullet goes through the window and kills Tara. I bet that there's a lot of people who view Tara's death as, pretty cheap, but I actually didn't find that cheap because, guns actually have a lot more recoil than people think, and Warren, I highly doubt that he knows how to use a gun properly. It's just the bullets travel fast enough, and if he's gripping the gun super tightly, that it stands to reason that at least for one shot it'll go in a straight line. But him trying to shoot someone as he's turning away and moving, yeah, I don't blame the gun moving upwards and it shooting Tara. What I do mind, however, is Waller just all of a sudden showing up. Like, what's his motivation? What did he think he would accomplish? Now, it does kind of fit in with his personality, but that's the issue I have. Him showing up in the first place. Yeah. So there's that little bit of contention there. And, okay, yeah, this season was negative in tone, but as I said, it actually ended up working. That's not to say that it wasn't easy to get through. Oh, no, it was tough in quite a few spots, but you ask me if I prefer this or season 5? I'll take this any day of the week. Even though I think the big issue I had with season 5 was the bad guys, and again, I do have issues with the bad guys here, though. Buffy, I don't think, was as weak in terms of where she stood in the Scooby Gang, because Giles leaving, in a way, it started the reset button for all of them in this situation. Now, that's not to say that Giles leaving was responsible for all of this, because a lot of what happened in this season still would have happened had Giles been there. It wouldn't have gotten as bad, but a lot of it definitely still would have happened. I'm sure of it. But yeah, when he came back and helped everyone fix things, those were intense last couple of episodes. Like when Willow confronts Warren and literally, strips the skin off him or something like that. I was like, oh. I felt that, let me tell you. Whew, and Dark Willow actually kind of spooky, I must admit, yeah. So, to my big shock, I ended up liking this season a lot more than I thought I did, though that's not to say that it's easy to get through. It's one of those things that you just appreciate a lot more once it's over, like various English teachers that I've had, where they keep complaining, you need to improve your writing. Nah. Think harder. And I'm like, I just don't get it. But now I'm like, oh yeah, I get it. Well, another chapter in the Buffyverse down. See you for the next one.